So this is a discussion about airsoft bearings, particularly these modified ceramic bearings. I'm saying that for especially high-load applications like this, what you really want is a quality bearing packing, and they're saying what you want is some sort of super light oil. And you know, I said, well, bearings are actually quite short-lived in the whole scheme of everything, and they said, well, you know, it's a facile argument, but they said, well, you know, it's because maybe you're using the wrong lubricant. The obviousness of that being incorrect aside, they're saying that if you put a bearing grease like this in here, that the bearings will cease rotating. Now, shame on them, because I incorrectly said superlube, and what I in fact meant was magnalube. Now, this is a PTFE thickened molybdenum disulfide grease, and these bearings have survived half a dozen or more of the most powerful, outlasted, I should say, of the most powerful airsoft springs money can buy. I think this is a 190 meter per second spring in there right now. That's, the piston looks like it's slowly being eaten too. That's the whole test rig is sort of, it's overdue for a maintenance interval, but I've stopped playing around with high power now in this sort of way. So, but anyway, I'll show you exactly what I mean. How you stick this in and it'll have no problem. The bearing will have no problem rotating. It's a non-issue. You just want to get a little bit in. Normally you do it from both sides just to make sure it's good, but you just get it down in there and rotate it a little bit. You can see actually that little bit on the inner race makes it quite obvious that it's rotating just fine. So yeah, I don't know, I mean, shame on them for arguing against something that didn't even exist, because superlube, which I incorrectly said, shame on me, it's not a product, it's a brand. So there are a million things in superlube. I'm sure they have some sort of light bearing oil that would have been exactly what CommieKid and Raygreen were arguing for. But yeah, this is the stuff, magnalube. It's not terribly high viscosity, and it will tolerate high load, and it works. And so, you know, this, what can I say? These bearings have done more than they should have. They've outlived quite a few gearbox breakers. This one, as you can see, has loosened up a bit. That one's still tight. They're not perfect. Never will be. I'm sure somebody's going to comment that you can see tiny swirls on the tops of these teeth, which you can because the bevel gear is too low. You have a tolerance issue in these because they wanted to reinforce the sidewalls as much as they could, actually getting everything in here and shimmed so that the bevel interacts with the motor properly, and the spur gear. Everything in this gearbox was designed for the maximum thickness that it could, given TM specs, give or take. So the gears are as thick as you can get away with, more or less, for a Tokyo Marui spec gear, and this is as narrow as you can get away with, basically, for Tokyo Marui spec gears. And this is why, when people initially bought these gearboxes, they had all kinds of problems shimming them, and it's because there's very little room for error in there. So that's why you can see, after all these rounds, you're seeing a few swirls on some of these gears, and yeah, on just the tops of these gears, and you can see clearly this gun is past its maintenance interval here. But yeah, I just thought I would show that and sort of quantify what I mean by extremely short-lived, because in the scheme of an airsoft rifle, which should have millions of cycles on it, one of these is extremely short-lived. Also, compared to a solid bushing, they're quite short-lived. But I guess on solid bushings you can use whatever packing you like. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Sorry that you had to watch this argument, but I thought it was important to quantify that that's how this stuff sort of works. This is what magnalube is. There you go. And you can see down here that obviously this has no difficulty rotating the way they claimed it would. That it would start to... The claim was that it would start to act like a solid bushing, and you'd be basically having the axle slip inside the inner race, and it's a complete falsity. I mean, it's comically absurd. So, I just... That's the way things are. Thanks for watching, guys.